Hi everyone, my name is Jan Chapetta, and this is my age-appropriate expectations presentation. The agenda I have for this presentation is laid out right here. To start my presentation, I would like to talk about the classroom expectations I have inside my own classroom, which are be kind to teachers and other students, use kind words when speaking to others, share toys or other classroom materials with others, be safe with others, so no hitting, kicking, biting, or spitting, have independence when using the restroom, putting away belongings, and dressing themselves and cleaning up, follow teacher directions when instructed, when inside, use walking feet and inside voices, using your manners, communicating their needs to teachers and peers, and practice self-regulation skills. Student age group and teacher count. My classroom is for the children who don't make the birthday cutoff for the next school year kindergarten class. This means the students I get in the first half of the school year have a birthday between September and December. After the holiday, I get my second half to fill in any open spots on my roster. These children are typically have a birthday between January and early March. Currently, I have a classroom of 16 students on my roster, and they are all full-time. There are 2 teachers present inside the classroom, and the ages of my students are between 3 and 4 years old. The 4 play and routine expectations I have is use your words in a kind manner, like using your manners, please and thank you. If there's something you would like or need, share toys and materials, be safe, no hitting, kicking, biting, or spitting, and follow teacher instructions when it's time to clean up or move to another center. These are 2 areas of my classroom which my students enjoy the most. The first is our dramatic play area. This is one of my students' favorite areas, and we need to communicate a lot in this area with sharing in certain aspects. And then in this area is our block area, and they love to build with all these different materials inside this area, and we get a lot of movement sometimes, so that's where we kind of work on personal space and being safe with others. The other centers, parts of my classroom, is our table space for centers and also small group play for like the smaller manipulative toys. We don't have a lot of those toys in our bins, so this is where we kind of work on the sharing, play and routine expectation. And then in our carpeted space is where we use for circle time and also large group play, which includes our Legos, magnet tiles, Lincoln logs. Sometimes we'll put on the carpeted space. It gives them more room to move around. And this is where we kind of work on communication as well, being safe. Since there's more space, there's a lot more movement sometimes. So that's how the routine and play expectations kind of go into our layout of our room. So my expectations align with Head Start in the following ways that I believe. The first is the approaches to learning. Between the ages of 16 and 36 months, children should, with the subdomain of emotional and behavioral self-regulation, use various strategies to help manage strong emotions, begin to manage and adjust actions and behaviors with their guidance of familiar adults using words or signs such as stop or no during conflict with their peers instead of hitting, lets the adult know when they are hungry or tired. In the subdomain of cognitive self-regulation, which is one of my expectations, children, Head Start states, children modifies actions or behaviors in social situations, daily routines, and problem solving. Between the ages of 36 and 48 months, in the subdomain of initiative and curiosity, children participate in experiences, ask questions, and experiments with new things or materials. This is something we like to encourage a lot inside our room. Within the subdomain of emotional and behavioral self-regulation, they are to manage less intense emotions such as mild frustration independently, may require adult support to manage more intense emotions, follow similar rules and routines with assistance from adults, manage own actions, words, and behaviors with frequent support from others, such as reminders to use gentle touches and friendly words. which is something else that ties into our expectations of using kind words, being gentle, in those kinds of ways. In the domain of social emotional development between the ages of 16 and 36 months, in the subdomain of relationships with adults, Head Start states engages in a positive interactions in a wide variety of situations with familiar adults. In the subdomain of relationships with other children, seeks out other children for social interaction, including initiating contact and responding to others, develops friendships, and engages in more elaborate play with friends. Shows awareness of thoughts and feelings and preferences as well as those of others, uses different words or signs to refer to self and others. It continues and says in the subdomain of relationships with other children between 36 and 48 months, sometimes engages in and maintains interactions with other children without support from an adult, or demonstrates skills in doing this when prompted by an adult, may spontaneously engage in pro-social behaviors with other children, such as sharing and taking turns. Improvements for age appropriateness. I believe my classroom expectations align with the Head Start Learning Outcomes Framework. This is the reasoning why I don't believe I don't need to make that many improvements. The one improvement I would like to include more is expression of feelings as an expectation, because children can learn how to effectively navigate relationships. Expressing our emotions was something I read about in a few different spots when looking at the framework. For example, under the domain of social emotional development, it was stated between the ages of 36 and 48 months, children expresses a broad range of emotions across contexts such as during play and interactions with adults, notices when strong emotions are exhibited by others, and begins to use words to describe some of these emotions. Communication of expectations. At the beginning of the school year, a welcome packet is given to all of our families so they understand what happens inside the classroom. We then share our expectations by verbally telling the children during a group discussion what the expectations are. My co-teacher and I then provide reminders to the children about the expectations throughout the school year, using the same words like we use safe hands if a child hits. This can be during a group discussion or on a one-on-one time. According to the article Planning for Positive Guidance, Powerful Interactions Make a Difference, teachers should make their two voices one. The author states, this helps us deliver a cohesive message to children. Inside our classroom, we do not use a visual board that illustrates expectations since we are limited to what we can be placed on our walls due to corporate policies. I provided an image of the first page of our welcome packet that is given to parents. Appropriateness of communication. I believe the approaches to communicate our classroom expectations are age appropriate. From my experience, children are able to listen and remember better through repetition. This is why my co-teacher and I do our best to say our expectations at least twice a day. We have found this is to be very effective, and the children are starting to use the same phrases to each other. I also believe involving families is a great aspect as well. This helps them understand the classroom and open opportunities for conversations if they would like about how they could use these expectations at home. The article Culturally Appropriate Positive Guidance with Young Children states young children benefit when teachers and families establish healthy partnerships and define common goals or developmental outcomes for children. Since I am limited on what I can do inside my classroom due to corporate policies, I don't believe any changes need to be made. I would like to talk to my higher management staff on incorporating visual expectation board. I believe it would be beneficial to my students, and it would be something they can refer to if needed without teacher assistance. Culture and family value alignment. According to the article Culture Appropriate Positive Guidance with Young Children, culture appropriate positive guidance requires educators to understand and meditate differing views on child guidance between home and school contexts. To understand my family's cultural and family values, I have a conversation with them at the beginning of the school year so we could better understand each other. This is another reason why I use a welcome packet inside my classroom. As my families review the packet and through our conversations, we start to build an understanding of each other. In the past, this is when some families question some of the goals and expectations I have for the children inside my classroom. We then work together on how I can best support the family and their child. With my current group of families, I have not had any of those conversations. Some of the families have actually taken the expectations of the classroom and started to implement them inside their homes as well. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and these are my references that I used.